Sometimes we think of help as the immediate fixing of a problem or the immediate taking away of pain. Now that is pretty much normal help, everyday help. But when we are going through a serious issue, when we ask for help from God, where does my help come from? God will not just simply take away your pain or fix your problem without giving you any new information about who God is. And sometimes the reason God takes his sweet time in fixing your problem may be because God is trying to get you to open your eyes so that you are willing to learn more about God and more about yourself in the situation. One of the worst things we can do is take the wrong help when we have a problem. Sometimes it is better for us to remain in our problem than to take the wrong help. You all need to give a few examples? You are lonely. Oh, if I could meet the right one. Oh, if the right person can come into my life. You have your requirements. He's tall. He makes money. He, I don't know, dresses nice. Alright, that's it. Whatever, you know? Oh, if I could just have help from this loneliness. But if you choose the wrong person, someone that is inconsiderate, someone that has no respect for you, your time, your family, your friends, someone who actually is willing to leech off of you and take your money, your food, and all of a sudden this person is now taking over your life. If it's the wrong help, your situation of loneliness was much better than the situation you're in now. Sometimes you are jealous of someone else. It burns, the jealousy. The wrong help is to put down the person you are jealous of. They may have things that you always wanted, but instead of asking God, God, how can I fix myself, or how can I reflect on myself? Sometimes when we get jealous, it's not a sin and it's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's a wake-up call. You have been a little too complacent with what you do. Maybe you're at a job and you're a little too complacent with the work. You take an hour and a half at lunch instead of an hour. You go shopping at lunch instead of working. Someone new comes in and they do the job better than you. You are jealous. If it pushes back on yourself, you may say, man, I really need to actually work when I'm at work. Or you could put them down. Putting them down is easier. It's the immediate help. It's the immediate fix. And it's probably the one we take. You feel like you're not interesting, that you're not really worth talking to. There's a way to have the right help, and it's long, and it's arduous, and it requires dealing with yourself and praying with God. Or you could choose the wrong help, which is start gossiping. Once you gossip, people want to talk to you because you have interesting things to say about other people. And you think, so long as this company is here with me listening, I like it. I seem interesting. But what do you have to do? You have to keep gossiping. You have to keep talking to bring them in. That's the wrong kind of help. Yes, it fixes your interesting problem, and yes, it takes away the pain of the loneliness, but you learn nothing about yourself, and you learn nothing about God or God's ways, and instead you get yourself in a situation where now you're known as a gossip. You're with me? Taking the wrong help sometimes is worse than staying in your problem. And one of the ways God shows us mercy in the weirdest way is that God keeps us in our problem longer than allowing us to take the wrong help. We may be angry with God because what looks like immediate help, God stops us from having it. But that could be God's finest act of mercy in your life that year. Simply because God knows, as you all know deep down, that sometimes staying in the problem is much better than getting the wrong help. When you're in the problem and the struggle and the pain, That is a chance where God can work on you to open your eyes so that you can see with new eyes, learn more about God, learn more about yourself. And then when the pain goes, when the problem is fixed, you now are no longer having a problem. You now are filled with wisdom. And when you have wisdom, when someone else comes to you with a similar problem, guess what you can do for them? You can help them. You can help them much better than when you didn't have that wisdom. God is not, I know I'm 28, and I know you might be like, well, you're a little young. But God, all 28 trips around the sun have taught me that sometimes God teaches us the most when we are in our problems. And then when we get out of our problems, we look at our soul. And our soul and our life has a lot of puddles from the storm. And all those puddles are calm on the surface, and they reflect back on God and how good God's been and how God has been there with you through it all. Jerusalem is a holy city. And sometimes with holy cities, the thought is that only God stays. God only stays in the holy cities. But what the psalmist teaches us is that God is with the psalmist each step of the way. That God is not just God in Jerusalem, but God is God in every step you take. God is not just God here in the sanctuary, but God is with you the moment you take a step outside and hit Whitney Avenue and Judge Street. God is with you each step of the way. But if you are seeking help that is immediate, that will take away your pain, you may miss the very thing, the very true help God is trying to give you. Our addictions that we normally know are not demons. They don't come at us with demons. The addiction of alcohol, addiction to the internet, the addiction to shopping, eating, gossiping. They don't come at you as demons, ready to consume your life. If they did, you probably would say, I probably will not do that, right? But what they do come in is they come as forms of immediate help. Immediate, quick release. Immediate. You're bored? Let me go shopping. Or more seriously, you don't know what to do with your life now. You're at a crossroads. You need to make a decision. What do you do with this? What do you do with the stress? What do you do with the fact that you don't know what to do? What do you do with the fact that you know that you have to move on from a job, but you don't know if there's going to be a better one out there? What do you do if you now need to make a decision about what to do and you don't know the direction to go? You could sit there with the stress of that and pray and wait for God to answer. And God sometimes takes God's very sweet time getting back with a response. Because God doesn't use email, it seems. Instead, God uses old-fashioned post service, right? Or you could distract yourself and go shopping and get your mind off of it. Now, that's fine. It's immediate help. But the problem is if you become so used to it, it can become an addiction. And that's how most of our addictions actually start. Help that was immediate and fast and an easy fix. And next thing you know, it made a new problem that is way worse than the old. We read in our call to worship, a horse is a vain hope for deliverance. Despite all its great strength, it cannot save. But the eyes of the Lord